Klay Thompson, 18 minutes ago, signed a 3-year, $50 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Klay Thompson, who has been on the Warriors since I was like 23, is gone with the Mavericks.
Yeah.
And the dynasty is over. That team, that core is done. What do you think of this news?
Wait a minute. So he signed for one, I thought he was going to the Lakers. I really thought that was his alternate destination. But give me the contract numbers again, because he just rejected a deal with the Warriors.
Yes, he did. 3 years, $50 million deal with a player option. 3 years is the key. From what I understand, that the Warriors never offered Klay more than 2 years. So 3 years with the player option, $50 million to go to Dallas, a team that was just in the finals.
But wait, wasn't he offered 2 years, $48 million with the Warriors? So 24 per season?
Yeah, so Klay just signed for less money and more years than the Warriors offered even a year ago. And there's no state tax in Texas, and he's going to a better team that's actually committed to winning right freaking now. So, hey, good move for Klay.
Yeah.
And a slap in the face to an organization that used to be light years ahead of everyone else.
He took less money to go to the Mavericks. But
the Mavericks gave him an extra year and showed more commitment to him. I don't understand. Look, Klay Thompson isn't what he used to be, but you push him out and keep Kuminga and Wiggins? Explain that one, dude. Like, this is one of the most important, iconic players in franchise history who, on a down year last year, shot 39% from three on 9 threes a game. And you have the replacement is Pods, who's decent. He's solid, but not necessarily a starter on a championship team. I don't really look. I think what is interesting about this, we do quality control for the Niners, who frankly have been doing really well the last few years. It'd be fun to do some with the Warriors right now. Like, yo, Joe, you want to build a team in your image? Have a good luck, dude. You're messing up right now. You're messing up. You're selling us that like Kuminga's going to be special this year. Like, how is this team going to be better?
Well, here's the thing. I'm actually been out on Klay. I love Klay, and I appreciate everything he's done for the organization. But he's been a shell of himself the last 2 seasons. So to me, like the old Bill Walsh, get rid of him a year early is better than a year late. And they're 2 years late on Klay Thompson, in my opinion. As much as I respect and appreciate what he's done, when he was in his prime, he was ridiculous. But he actually has hurt the Warriors over the last year or so. So I'm not mad about him leaving. Good for him. I just find it interesting that he took less to go to the Mavericks, which says
I think the Mavericks just got better. I'm sorry, I disagree with you on that with Klay. Like, yeah, he's worse than he used to be, but he's better than Pods. He shouldn't have come off the bench, and he just made the Mavericks better. Like, who doesn't need shooting like that? Every team needs a guy who can hit 40% of his threes or 38 on 9 attempts a game. That's pretty important.
Well, what I like about Klay Thompson is if Klay Thompson could have taken, and this is what I think the problem is. If I'm keeping Klay Thompson, I love what you did, but we need you in a different role now. If you can be a shooter off the bench, great. We'll take you. I would love to have Klay Thompson as a shooter off the bench, but I don't think Klay wanted to be that guy. He wanted to have the same role he's had previously. He's not very good off the drive anymore. His defense is he used to be a really good defender. He can't defend at all anymore. You can tell his athleticism is just not there anymore. And sometimes he takes horrible shots and he hurts the Warriors. So that's what I've seen over the last 2 seasons from Klay Thompson. So if he would stick around and be a shooter in the corner, I would have kept him. But I don't think he wanted that role.
Stick around with the Warriors and come off the bench on a team that's struggling to make the playoffs. Go to the Mavericks, go to the finals, start. Good move for him. I think it's going to be interesting. Like, Joe Lacob has a very big ego, and he has a lot of rings, and he thinks this is his opportunity to build a team in his image. You know, Jerry West drafted Klay Thompson. Someone else drafted Draymond Green. James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins. Those are all Lacob specials. I'm real interested to see what this team looks like in a few years when it's just him, Lacob.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it Dunleavy? Isn't Dunleavy the guy, or am I tripping?
Well, Lacob's the owner. Dunleavy, he hired Dunleavy. So, this is just his creation. That's what you got.
Yeah.
You brought in Dunleavy. You ran off Klay Thompson. You extended Draymond Green for 4 years. Can we talk about that too? You gave Draymond a 4-year extension after he punched the guy, and you drew the line at Klay? What? How does that make any sense? Also, you traded Poole and a first-round pick for
Chris Paul,
and then cut Chris Paul a year later.
Yeah,
what are you doing, Joe?
Yeah, those are all bad mistakes. I mean, drafting Wiseman, that wasn't Dunleavy, that was prior to him, but they've made a lot of mistakes. They haven't surrounded Steph with the necessary pieces. They are definitely wasting Steph Curry's talent. Steph Curry, to me, Draymond and Klay, I'm different than a lot of Warriors fans on this. Draymond and Klay, I appreciate what they have done for the Warriors in the past, but they are not the core. The core is Steph Curry. And Draymond, to me, I've never been a huge Draymond fan. I appreciate what he does when he's really dialed in, but it's not often that he's dialed in that much anymore. Klay, to me, has not been good over the last 2 years. They should have been building around Steph Curry, in my opinion. Steph Curry is the core of the Warriors. They haven't surrounded him with a center. They haven't surrounded him with any scoring options. They went and got Chris Paul, which I never thought was a difference maker for the Warriors. I didn't understand that move, and I don't know what the hell they're doing right now. It's kind of confusing to me. As of right now, this moment, they're worse now than they were last year.
The thing about getting rid of Klay, it's not like football. They didn't create cap space. They had this slot where they could give him a max contract or whatever because he'd been with the team and they drafted him, and you don't use it. He leaves. You only have the mid-level exception to bring in someone else, so it's hard to get better while getting rid of Klay. It's hard to get better. And then, like, what's crazy about this team, forget Klay for a second, because, yeah, he's not that much of a difference maker anymore. But the way they tried to build this core the last 5 years, drafting Wiseman, drafting Kuminga, horrible selections, really young guys who needed a ton of development on a team that needed veteran role players like Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala. Those were the glue guys on those championship teams back in the day. And Jerry West was the kind of guy who brought players like that in, and he's gone. And now Joe Lacob really wasted a few years on the hope and dreams of these lotto picks. They could have just traded the second pick and the seventh pick instead of taking those guys and gotten championship quality role players instead of hoping for another nucleus that you don't need yet. A second timeline, that really backfired.
Right. It's halfway in, halfway out. Like, you're trying to rebuild by also still be a championship contenders. You really can't. You have to go all in with a generational talent like Steph Curry and put whatever you can around Steph Curry, because who knows how long we have with Steph at this level. Like, I mean, he looked fantastic last year, no sign of drop off, but eventually it's going to happen at some point. They wasted years with Steph Curry. They have 4 championships, which is great. And it's weird to complain about the Warriors because they have been at the elite level in the Bay Area sports for a long time. But it does seem like it's drifting away, and they're not taking advantage of the opportunity and the time they have with Steph Curry as in his prime.
It's funny. Like, if I were Steph Curry, I'd be jealous of Klay. Like, Klay just went to a better situation. Klay has a better chance to get another ring than Steph right now.
He does.
Now. That's crazy. That's crazy. What is Steph doing right now? He's wasting his time. He's older than Klay.
You know what? And
get the hell out.
From what I've understand too, or from what I heard, it seems like Steph is partially responsible for keeping Klay and Draymond around, and probably too long. I think nostalgia messed them up a little bit. Like, I really do. I think Steph Curry was the core, and they thought it was Steph, Klay, and Draymond, and it really hasn't been. It's just Steph, and you got to.
That's where I disagree with you on this team. I feel like the downfall of this dynasty wasn't holding on to Draymond and Klay too long. It was the complete inability to add anyone worthwhile to that 3. And the core got old, and instead of having like supplemental players, you had this second core they tried to build at the same time that completely failed. That's the story here.
Well, like, to me though, like, because they held on to Klay and Draymond, at their with their contracts. They had to try to get it through the draft as opposed to being able to sign other guys that would have been more beneficial for them, is what I mean. Like they haven't had a good center. Like Looney, as much as I love Kevon Looney, I love him. He's awesome. He's a backup. He's a backup center, and they've been trying to make him the guy for too long. They started to see that last year. So we'll see. They really need these young guys to step up because I don't know. They're trying to trade for Lauri Markkanen, who is a 50, 40, 90 guy from Utah. Averaged 23 points a game, 8.5 rebounds per game. So if they get him, that would be great. But we'll see. I'm not sure. They haven't had a lot of success landing their targets over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if they could go get Lauri Markkanen and
Markkanen.
I think they should try to get Lauri Markkanen and he's pretty good. Trying. He did average 23 points last night. He was an all-star a couple years ago, most improved player a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's really good. Be another scoring threat. Tall dude, can shoot the three.
Tall, good name.
That's what they need. They need height. They don't have anyone that can defend these Jokic's of the West. Like they need a real big. So I don't know.
Also, they need shooting, especially now they just lost Klay. The team can't shoot, dude. I mean, Steph can, but Kuminga can't shoot. Draymond can't shoot. Wiggins, uninterested.
I can't believe they still have Wiggins. I would rather have Wiggins. To me, is completely unreliable. And as a basketball coach, like the main thing I want is consistency. So at least I know how to coach. If you're not consistent, I don't know what to expect from you. I can't really plan how I'm going to coach or approach a game. And Wiggins is just like completely out of it, or he's locked in. And recently, he's just been out of it consistently. Like there's times he doesn't even show up. So it's Wiggins to me is the guy that should have been moved already.
All right, so let's talk about Wiggins for a second. He was an all-star 2 years ago, key piece of their championship team, played great defense on Tatum in the finals, put up 17 points per game that season. Last year, went MIA. 37 games, didn't really explain what happened. This year comes back, 28 years old, plays 71 games, averages 13 points per game.
Awful.
At 28.
He's out there. He's just out there.
By far the worst season of his career. Like, what the heck? How is he still on this team?
No, you just can't rely on a guy like that. And so you have to move on. And does he still have the potential to be a great? I think so. He's extremely talented, but something in his mind is off right now. He's not aggressive. He doesn't have it. So you have to move on from that.
So what can they do now? Klay's gone. Chris Paul's gone. Jordan Poole's gone. The first round pick's gone. What is the trade? Wiggins and Kuminga? Wiggins and Kuminga.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that trade package?
And I actually think Kuminga could be good, but he's a little, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's
at what position?
Forward? I don't know. I just know.
Which forward?
I mean, either one. Doesn't matter.
I don't think he can play small forward. He can't shoot. He can't shoot. Let's pull up Kuminga's numbers. I'm sorry. I'm excited. Yeah. We don't get to talk about the Warriors very much.
Yeah.
Kuminga stats. Last year.
Not good 3-point shooter last year. He had flashes though early. Yeah.
No. Yeah, so I mean, good player. He can he's a great athlete. He's got some potential, but man, I think he's got to be a power forward. I think he's got to be Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't want to be Aaron Gordon. He wants to be Kawhi Leonard, and he's not.
He wants to be Kobe, and he's not.
He's not.
Baseline fadeaways and all that. Like, don't do that, dude. That's not who you are. Just drive to the basket, attack.
Just set a screen and roll the basket.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what the Warriors are going to do. I know DeMar Rosen, I heard he doesn't have a big market out there. Maybe but that's not really Warriors basketball. I don't know, man. I
can't shoot either.
Yeah, he can't shoot.
Anyway,
I'm not really
not our problem
about the Warriors.
Not our problem. We'll do some quality control for them in the future, but right now, not our problem.